is history, the future mystery. This moment is the gift. Every second.
Oh my gosh. Welcome, Miracle Makers. Every second that we're together is a gift. And you are listening to the Miracle Makers. This is Dr. Sarah Larson in studio with my beloved husband, Miracle Maker Greg Larson. We have been having quite a week and quite a time, and we can't wait for today's show. Today's show, we're going to cover you don't know why you do some of the things you do. Your own psychology is a mystery to you. And so today's show will clarify the secrets of activating your potential with some of the miracle makers that are going to be at a phenomenal conference out in California. This conference is called Earth Shift Conference. And this reminds me of a story. Baby, I'd just love for you to say hi.
Hello, Miracle Makers. How are you doing today? I'm so excited to be here with my beautiful wife. She's talking away, and I'm like almost in a different parallel universe, just watching her, just mesmerized by everything she is. She is a true, beautiful, amazing miracle maker, and I'm so blessed to have this time with her right now.
We're so blessed to share our time with the miracle makers. Why we do everything is we want you to have the richest experience of life that you possibly can. We're having a really brilliant evolutionary experience. We want this for you. And this reminds me of a story, Earthshift Conference, and what we've been experiencing this week. There was an evolutionary biologist at Purdue University, William Muir, and he was checking out and wondering about productivity. So he decided to check out the productivity of chickens, and to count eggs was such an easy way to check out productivity, how to make chickens more productive. And so he devised an experiment, brilliant experiment, where he took an average stock of an average flock. He left them alone for 6 generations. Then he took a separate group, individually productive, the most productive out of the flock. He put them 1 generation in, and then he took, for the 2nd generation, he took the most productive from that one flock, those that produced the most eggs. He did that for 6 generations. We can call those 6 generations of super chickens. The super producers were put into an environment with each other. Well, after 6 generations, the average flock was doing fine, plump chickens, plump eggs, healthy everything. And what did they find with the separate group, the 2nd group of super chickens? All but 3 of the chickens were dead. The individually productive chickens had only achieved their success, these 3 chickens, by suppressing the productivity of other chickens. And the society that we're looking at.
Well, and don't forget that the 3 that were alive pecked to death the other chickens.
Yes.
They didn't just deny them food or anything. They actually aggressively
pecked them
took them
to
out.
death.
Yeah,
and what we're seeing in society, what we're experiencing collectively, is the super chicken society, aggression, dysfunction, and a lot of waste. A lot of our money, a lot of our resources are going to waste. And so this is what today's show is really, truly about, the secrets to activating our potential by what we've learned through science and by the miraculous stories of our guest. And yay. Our first guest is this amazing woman named Celeste Yarnall. She was born in Long Beach, California. She's an American actress. She's a hero to many. And she was on Star Trek. She's been on movies with Elvis. And she's such a beautiful individual. She has a long, long list of movies under her belt, including The Nutty Professor, The Yum Yum Tree, A Little Love, Eve. There's so many things. She has now turned her life into being of service because of her own story, and has a website and a future of medicine, the Art of Wellness Collection.com. That's her and her husband Nazim's space online right now. We're so excited to welcome Celeste Yarnall. Woo, Celeste, thank you for being on air with us. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Sarah and Greg. I would really love to go right into dovetailing on what you have just presented, because my mind was racing a mile a minute. My husband and I had the honor of producing a film called Femme, the French word for women, Femme, Women Healing the World, which is an award-winning documentary film that was released 2 years ago and is one of those classics now that is a must-see for everyone. And the documentary was created by Sharon Stone and Emmanuel Etier, and Sharon and I appear in it, as does Marianne Williamson, a huge cast of just around 100 women globally talking about how we can heal the world. And that addresses right on the head what you were just discussing. I wish we had more time. I have so much to share with you. But basically, I thought long and hard about what my contribution to this film could be. And basically, I went straight to the amazing women, of course, the women being the profound healers and shaman on the planet. The goal being to raise women globally to equal status with men and to partner in a quest to heal the world. But I thought again, what could I contribute? And I immediately went to the 9 months before a child is born in utero. People don't realize that baby is that unborn, that fetal tissue is downloading everything the mother is experiencing and everything in the ambient environment and everyone in the environment around her. By the time the child is born, 50% of its personality and belief systems are formed. So we're creating bullies and chickens that peck others right in the uterus. So when we think about downloading love, when we think about downloading the most profound messages we can into that fetal tissue, besides what we're breathing and eating and exposed to, by the time the child is born, we're halfway to an amazing being that has had love downloaded into its fetal tissue. You know, I learned of a study when I was writing my 5 books on holistic healthcare for dogs and cats, which are all published through major publishers. And just a quick segue, I raised 11 generations of Tonkinese cats on all holistic principles and love, and took the most loving and most healthy of those generations and produced the most healthy, loving cats, super cats on the planet, who would never peck their siblings. So I did the reverse of that. But the study I want to tell you about that will help the study that you've just presented is one that was done with rabbits. And the actual citations are in my book, The Complete Guide to Holistic Cancer Care. The study was done with one group of rabbits being neglected and fed the most perfect rabbit diet on the planet, and the other group of rabbits was fed the junk food diet and given all the love and handling and cuddling on the planet. And if you can believe this, the rabbits given the health food, the perfect diet with no love, died. And the rabbits giving the love, they just thrived. So what can we do today? We can certainly help all pregnant women to know that in 2 generations we can flip this paradigm to the one that we all envision happening. And so we can surround pregnant women with this kind of energy. But what can we do within ourselves if we haven't had that prenatal experience? We can also download into all the trillion cells into our own body messages of love. And we do that as simple as just repeating positive messages over and over again. We are the god and goddess of every cell in our bodies. And, like, when is the last time you said, hello, liver tissue, thank you so much for the amazing job you're doing. Thank you so much, gallbladder tissue, for being this incredible filter that you are. I love all of my cells, and I am perfect and beautiful and valuable and constantly healing, repairing, and regenerating myself on a daily basis. Does that resonate? Does that make sense?
It is so beautiful. We actually do that in our courses, and we teach about all of the living tissue and organisms and the intelligence that lives there. And Dr. Emoto's work with the water, we're 70 to 90% water. And if you're
amazing.
feeling the love in your water, if you're loving your water or your food, we have a prayer that we say over our food, whatever we're eating. We're so grateful for this food, for the loving hands that prepared it, provided, and served it, and all the great things we get to do with its energy. And we infuse our food with love. And I love what you shared, and I think it's so important to realize, to add in, that your daughters, when you're pregnant with them, are formulating the eggs that will become your grandbabies.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And the female body is so incredible that it designs one breast milk formula for boy babies, one breast milk formula for girl babies. When the mother's heart is wounded, the baby's tissues and stem cells actually rush to help her, because there is such an incredible interplay between mother and unborn child. A male baby's stem cells can actually protect the mother's brain from Alzheimer's. When the mother holds her belly and communicates with her hand, the baby actually responds and wiggles around to communicate back with her. The baby is learning the mother's language and deciding which one is the mother's tongue. So the baby has even learned words by the time it's born. So it's really amazing. And one of the things that I'm so excited sharing with everyone at EarthShift, besides my keynote, is that we will be bringing a revolutionary device to our Art of Wellness collection space. And I will be giving everyone demonstrations on this. And it's going to be a surprise what it is. And just one of my favorite quotes comes from Einstein, and that is, future medicine will be the medicine of frequencies. So what we're talking about is frequency. And this offer is a $50 session to our guests at EarthShift for free. And I'm very excited at last about being able to, in person, share this technology. So I hope everyone will certainly come to hear me speak, come and appreciate all of the wonderful speakers that have been assembled for this amazing conference, and to visit all of us who will be setting up each of our own paradigm in order to share with everyone, because this is a revolutionary conference. And
I'm so
just
excited
honored and thrilled to be alive, because I'm a cancer survivor that was struck with stage 3 ovarian cancer in November of 2014. And I've been doing some revolutionary protocols. There is a takeaway message that I really want to share with everyone. And that is, if anyone is having a biopsy or a surgery for the potential of a solid tumor, a solid cancer tumor, it is of the utmost importance to write this down. Tell your surgeon you want to store that tumor at www.storemytumor.com, because your own biological material is now the most potent healing agent on the planet. So what I have done is my tumor tissue the tumor tissue, I don't want to call it my own, the tumor tissue from the surgery was stored at storemytumor.com and sent to an amazing facility in the beautiful Grand Cayman Islands called Perseus, PCI.com. That's P as in Paul, E as in Edward, R as in Robert, S as in Sam, I, U as in United States, S, P as in Paul, C as in Charles, I.com. PerseusPCI.com. And there they have taken that tumor and my own blood to make me an autologous individual vaccine. People don't realize that you can fast and you can do vegetables, you can do crystals, you can do myriad of things, but cancer hides from the immune system once it's established. It wears a mask so that your immune system thinks it's your own body and doesn't target it. The immunotherapy today is the cancer treatment and chronic disease treatment of now and the future. And what it does is it takes the mask off of that circulating cancer cells, which all of us have 50 times a day. Cancer is trying to establish itself in a healthy body. But once it catches hold, then it wears this mask and the immune system can't touch it. But this particular therapy becomes like circulating little AWAC systems of dendritic cells in your immune system so that your immune system targets it. And that's what I'm a part of. That's what I've been raising funds, $50,000 at GoFundMe to do, not just for myself, but since I'm in an FDA clinical trial, this is for the future of everyone. So we are at about 39,000 into that 50,000. The rest have been loaded onto every credit card we ever had so that I can do this therapy and hope to bring credibility to this amazing treatment. And of course, in the doing so, the price will come down. So I also want to share my particular GoFundMe website because in helping me, you help me help others.
Celeste, it's a gift to give to you. You're such a gift to the universe. The work that you've been creating with the
thank you.
Art
Even
of
$5
Wellness,
helps.
the Art of Wellness collection. And I know this is where our we're going to send some funds to. Can you please give us the website, the GoFundMe?
The GoFundMe is www.gofundme.com/K as in Kansas, V as in Victor, O as in Oregon, the number 9, X as in Xerox, S as in Sam. So that's www.gofundme.com/KV09XS. And that, I'm so grateful to all who have helped me. I'm so grateful to be alive, but to be of value to my beloved husband, Nazim Artist. And it sounds like you and Greg have that same magical sacred twin flame that he and I have. And through his beautiful, beautiful artworks found at nazimartist.com, and also to be seen at Earthshift. Another amazing thing about Nazim's art is the originals and the prints on stretch canvas are glazed with his proprietary holistic glaze. And in that glazing, there are far infrared particles, negative ions, and even sometimes the crystalline soil from Sedona. So his work is just amazing, and the energy jumps off the walls.
Well, thank you so much, Celeste. The conference that you're speaking at and your amazing technology and your husband's art will be available. It's called Earthshift Conference. It is Friday, June 10th through Sunday, June 12th in Desert Hot Springs. And Celeste, we are so grateful for the Art of Wellness collection that you have, for your GoFundMe, for your miraculous stories, and for the film that you created.
Yes, the website for the film, Sarah, is FEMME, FEMME, themovie.com.
And what a gift you've given us with, if you've got cancer, you can send your cells off to create a response so that your immune system can recognize the cancer cells. What a great gift you've given us. Celeste, thank you so much. We'd love to have you on again in the near future.
I'd love it.
Awesome. And so Celeste Yarnall with theartofwellness.com. Big hugs to you until we meet again.
Oh, thank you so much. And don't forget, we have lots for the dogs and cats with my book, Paleo Dog, co-authored by my holistic veterinarian writing partner, Jean Hosey, DVM, and The Complete Guide to Holistic Cat Care. I hope to have a few copies at the conference as well, because we mustn't forget our animal companions. They are so important to our life, as is every bit of matter on Mother Earth. So I can't wait to meet you guys in person and be on your show again.
We are so grateful. Woo! We are just so excited for what we are sharing today on air. We're talking about Earth Shift Conference that is happening and the secrets of activating our potential. We just had Celeste Yarnall, who gave us some great points. And coming up next, we have Julian Forrest, the founder of that Earth Shift Conference, and Elizabeth England, who is speaking at the conference. She is the founder of Ocean Nation, and I am just so excited for what these two beautiful, beautiful human beings represent. It reminds me of the story that and the wisdom that the universe we live in is contained within an infinite field of time and space. And in Palm Desert, where the conference is, you'll be able to really, really see. If you look up into the night sky, you may notice that there's a whole lot of nothingness out there. There's an infinite amount of space which has no end. Every star or point you see is this infinite space that contains the absolute center of this infinite field. You are also one of these points in the universe. Scientifically speaking, since an infinite universe exists everywhere, wherever you go, you are at the center of it all. And as we've talked about the super chickens, and as we've talked about this world that we live in that will have such brilliant, the movie that Celeste Yarnall created, we now get to talk with our next guest, Elizabeth England and Julian Forrest in the house. We're so glad that you're here. It's one of the funnest things to listen to the recording that's a little bit delayed that you're listening to on the other end. So we've been hearing that. I am so excited to mention, and I'd love for you to talk. Elizabeth, can you tell us about Julian? And Julian, we're going to have you introduce Elizabeth.
Oh, awesome. Elizabeth has been a super dear friend for a long time now, several years, and it started on an adventure in Los Angeles, so to speak, when I decided I wanted to leave the metropolises. And something happened when we met. I met with her with Ars Christos, and I'd never met them before, but they were friends of some of my friends. And we met at a coffee shop in Hollywood, and somehow we were just instant friends, and it's just developed ever since then in all kinds of magnificent ways. And she's always been a very, very dear soul. And I'm super happy that she's helping with this and coming to the Earthshift conference. And she's doing all kinds of amazing things. So I would say look up Elizabeth England and Ocean Nation and anything she's doing always.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you so much. And Julian, I met, as you heard, in Hollywood, and yeah, we instantly set up, and we've been friends ever since, and we've been supporting each other, especially in our musical ventures. And
Yeah.
Julian is an amazing musician, and also an incredible Renaissance man, I guess you'd call him, in his understanding of the nature of the universe and sacred geometries and the ways that music is used to shift consciousness. And he's really taken that very, very far with his albums. And every time he does an event here or anywhere near where I am, I want to hear that music, especially when you do the whales. You know, I'm a whale fan.
That's so beautiful. And I know that both of you have secrets to activating your potential. And I'd love for you to just share a story of where you felt separate, maybe, and then found your potential was activated.
I have one, but
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Julian. Yes.
I wanted to offer it to you first, but
Thank you.
well, you
Gentleman. He's a gentleman.
the thing is my life's been a very labyrinthine thing. So anything that I say is kind of condensing it almost too far to verbalize it because it's been so, multidimensional. But there was definitely times in my life that I consider hermetic, where I deliberately removed myself from society. And I had floor-to-ceiling libraries sometimes, and I would do massive studies on science, harmonics, geometry, Pythagoras, the ancient world, the Kabbalah, and I created syntheses and new sciences out of this. I studied music theory and classical technique, but it was a solitary pursuit at various different points in my life. I had to have the strength to actually remove myself from the world and really focus on those things to go into the levels that I did. And so I was not antisocial, but I was definitely not social. So at the same time, when I would come out of those phases later on, I would realize that there were certain people that were very interested in those things, and I wasn't trying to convince them of anything or teach them exactly, but they'd start asking me questions. So next thing I know, after this really intense period in specific, what happened is I started interacting with real physicists, people from NASA, artists, chemists, and they realized that I could actually speak their language and show them in concrete terms that all their formulas were not the be all and end all. There's a synthesis or something higher than that that should have everything work together, not how it was separate. And so I gained a little bit of a name early on before the term sacred geometry was even current. It was before the internet, and I was calling it harmonic proportion. But some of these people, I avoid mentioning names for good reasons, actually changed how they wrote and what they were saying and what they were doing. Some very actually prominent people that, once again, were from either NASA or physicists and things like that. And so this part is something that not too many people actually know about me. But this has been a long-term, ongoing thing. And so I was actually personally initiating people directly. And then I went into the business world for years, and in that sense I was social. But I had a realization. I woke up about 7 years ago. I said, wait a minute, what are you doing? You have to go back to being an artist and musician. It's who you are. And so I did. And so it's been a magical, difficult journey, but I live for the magical experiences, and it's worth it. So I have a lot of different things that are happening all over the planet. So I seem very social. But to answer your question the way you phrased it, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I hadn't had those times of isolation and study to really seriously focus, and then also have the ability to come out and be able to integrate with people at the same time. So that says a lot about what I'm really doing right now, I think.
Julian, that's such a great point for miracle makers. And our theme here has been that story of super chickens that we've been talking about and being the infinite stillness. And so, Julian, you're really, really mentioning how ideas come to you and ideas come to others, and you harness the energy of the idea and become that harmonic proportion to the idea, sharing it with others. It reminds me that it's not corporations, it's not businesses, it's not organizations, it's people that save and create and connect. And those people, you being helpful to the individuals, the physicist, the scientist, harnessing the harmonic proportions, the sacred geometry within their ideas with your music as well, shifted what came through collectively, all of you. And so I like to think of our bodies, and breathing in, the inhale is when we go inside ourselves and we pull into our center, And then the exhale is when we share and we contribute out. We have to have both aspects of those to breathe and to create and to really activate our potential.
Well, being a miracle maker is kind of an inside out job, because we
Yes.
have to connect to that source within of the miraculous, of the magical, of the inspirational, all of that. And it's within. And it's so easy nowadays to look outside of ourselves and think, oh, well, that's it, or that might be it, or this could be it. But ultimately, that is an inside job. You have to connect in. Even
Yes.
we had physicist Nassim Haramein on, and he said, that is it. This is what I've discovered. This is what is the truth. You have to go in. And the farther you go in, the greater impact you'll have when you go out.
And so realizing that you are the center of the infinite field of space and holding that stillness. And Elizabeth, I can't
Yeah.
wait for you
Well,
to
and
share.
you guys are running. You're right in what I was going to talk about, because I found that it's really that experience of activating yourself becomes a moment by moment experience as the old patterns come up, or as the world impresses things upon you that may be limiting or trying to stop your expansion. You have to constantly turn inward and remember that you are limitless. And it's beautiful that you brought up Nassim. I'm going to see the film very shortly with Malcolm Carter, because I'm at the Illuminate Film Festival this week in Sedona, and it's about this very topic. And when I saw Nassim speak the first time, it was such a powerful experience. When I began to meditate and really drop into deep meditations, I kept experiencing this place of deep void and stillness. And I would meet the whales there. Mm-hmm. And I developed a very strong connection with the whales, which is why I founded Ocean Nation, that I really connect with the energy of the whales and how much what they do in that deep void space is create a wave of energy that shifts the planet. So each time I'm experiencing things in my life, and it happens sometimes moment to moment, day to day, we all experience these little things that might feel limiting. I drop into that place and I remember what Nassim taught, that within us we have access to that. When I was going into those meditations, I was dropping into that place, the vortex of the void, of the limitlessness of who we are and what we are and what we have access to. And that instantly, almost instantly, usually will pull me into the new truth that I now understand, that I am limitless, that I am connected to everything, and that everything that I do does create a wave, a shift wave, exactly what you were talking about, Julian,
Yeah.
that hits into the mass consciousness. So I don't consider anything that I do unimportant anymore. Everything I do is important. And this thing that I'm doing with Ocean Nation feels so massive. It feels like such a huge issue to address. But I know that everything I do creates a wave of change that is waved into the mass consciousness, and people are picking it up. And that's such a blessing.
It's such a beautiful thing. And what you're pointing out as the infinite universe exists everywhere. Wherever you go, you're at the center of it all. And great psychics, great scientists, great truths, whenever were released these theories that have not been disproven, they always, even musicians, Bach and Mozart, fully heard everywhere in their cells, in themselves. And one of the most important things to realize that I think you shared, Elizabeth, is working on yourself. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And how you do that one thing, being more and more present with it, moment to moment, allows your field, the infinite space, the absolute center, to affect the rest of everything. And as the leader of Ocean Nation, and as a leader, knowing that most of the space on the planet is in the oceans. Can you speak a little bit about water and memory and the frequencies of that?
Well, first of all, we are on a water planet and we are water beings. And so obviously the frequency that we are carrying within our body affects all of the water on the planet. It's all connected. Every time we shower, we drink, anything we do, we are putting our imprint upon water, because water, we know, has memory. It holds a memory, especially salt water. It's no mystery that crystals are memory carriers. They're used in so many devices that we use in our daily life because they are able to hold the memory that we need for our phones and so on to work. So within our bodies, we have salt water, and salt is a dissolved crystal. So the salt that's in the oceans carries tremendous amount of information and memory. I'm sure we've all experienced that when we go into the water, there's information that we are picking up and transmitting.
Yes, and that we remember. And so I'm so excited that you're speaking at Earthshift Conference this weekend, June 10th to June 12th in Desert Springs. And Julian, you founded this.
It's so great. Thank you.
Amazing work he's done.
Well, yeah, so tell us, what is the driving force with this conference for you?
Well, I'll tie two topics together. One is the sound healing music that I do and the effect that it has, and the conference, and they're both coming from the same place. And then we can, look at it kind of multidimensionally and holographically. What's really happening is musician. Celestial music throughout my life. I knew it was important. I didn't have the phraseology or any understanding. There's no one around me to tell me about any of these things or nothing. It was a very self-directed kind of an understanding that I carried with me, a certain awareness that I was born with this when I was a small child. And but I would have the celestial music and archangelic presences beyond anything you could depict on the planet or anything you could hear in the world, these experiences. And I knew that they were just as real as anything here.
And so at the conference, you will be performing these harmonic frequencies, and there are speakers and artists that are really on this movement of finding miraculous ways to enrich our lives and synergize all the movements that are happening for the earth, for the individuals that are coming in, and for really deep conversations of letting the dysfunction go, letting the competitiveness go, and bringing in the helpfulness and partnership and new available frequencies from synergizing. That's what I know this conference is bringing in.
For certain. So well said. And I really appreciate your spirit and your words and the way that you understand things, Sarah. It's a very, very blessed way of being that you have. And, this conference is really kind of the idea of being a magical exercise in the purest way. It's a magical intention. Everyone that's part of it knows that, that we've had the conversation. I've interacted with everyone directly, and they understand that this isn't just a gathering. This is something that's going to set a transcendental vibration of celestial sound, harmony, wisdom, understanding, synergy throughout the world. And it's going to be the first of many events that I'll be doing with this kind of theme. So it was built from the beginning with that in mind. And that's one of the reasons why everyone asked me to come, except for a few people I asked early on. They said, Julian, we want to be a part of this. They could feel it, and because of those kind of people, they can feel it, right? So it's got a very planetary renaissance kind of a viewpoint. And what I've determined, and this is one of the essential things, is people ask me what I'm talking about when I say that, is in those periods of time when I was a rare book collector and I studied intensely, I realized there was a common component to the Italian Renaissance, the time of the Alexandrian Library, the time of Pythagoras, the Egyptian priesthood, the rishis. And, once again, the Pythagorean school, by the way, is very special because in included men and women with equal footing, which is one of the reasons I value it so highly. But coming to the core of it, it was the understanding of harmonics, harmony, and sound, and how the universe is a musical construct, and then incorporating it into paintings, architecture, cultural systems, and so on and so forth, and realizing that Pythagoras and the Egyptian priests were right the whole time. They did know that there was music that was not just something that was nice or pleasant, but was also something that the universe is actually working upon, which is why it can have a structure or a function or a reality that we can be having this experience is underlying it is harmony. So I like to call it the secret goddess of harmony. Once you actually figure out who that secret goddess is and what
Like
she's
that.
doing,
Yes.
she's holding everything together because there's a harmonic relationship between everything that's allowing it to function with some kind of consciousness behind it and intent. So this conference, and by the way, I'll throw in the web address, it's www.earthshiftconference.com. It's www.earthshiftconference.com. Leads directly to Eventbrite if you want to get a ticket or ask the questions. So everyone that's involved in this, Elizabeth England, Ken Sheets is coming, which has become a very dear friend too, and so many people. We're all on that page of, hey, we can actually alter what happens in the world by presenting it and making it available, not caring what anyone thinks or trying to get them to think anything. But when we present it and make it available, people that are inspired by that can have magnificent life changes or just become inspired to do things that they didn't do before.
We're
Because
doing it in
available.
a hot spring as well,
Oh,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
another great point
Yeah.
to bring up, that we're doing this in a place where these waters are very precious. They're very famous waters for healing. And we are going to be partaking of that incredible memory that Mother Earth has for us and sharing that everywhere we go and creating a wave of energy. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. That wave of energy. We are miracle makers. You're listening to Dr. Sarah Larson and Greg Larson. We're talking with Elizabeth England of Ocean Nation and Julian Forrest of Earth Shift Conference. What we've really shared today is when you transcend your mind, you notice many aspects of your infinite nature. Music and art really truly transcend your mind. Group experiences resonate all the way out. And Greg and myself both are students of Nassim Haramein. I'm actually one of his ambassadors. And we've Miracle Makers, you know this already. We've got a podcast where we cover so much of his information. Ken Sheets and Elizabeth England have been on with us before, where we cover their work with Dr. Flanagan and also the work that they're doing with this fundraiser.
Yeah, can I mention that,
yes,
Sarah?
please mention the Antarctic, the coolest meditation ever.
So it's such a beautiful thing that Ken and I were able to align with my Ocean Nation work. He went to Antarctica to do 24 meditations on the ice for an earth shift at the time of the Mayan calendar. And he did this right before the Mayan calendar shift. So he was there 12-12-12. So now this has been made into a consciousness film, which brings this same wave of energy. It's bringing the wave of energy of the healing of the water, the healing of the planet, the awakening, our limitlessness, and our recognition of our holographic nature, that one person felt the call to go to the largest continent of ice, far, far south where every ocean touches, in order to imbue this energy of healing for an earth shift into the ocean there. And so that's an incredible project I've been working on, and you can find it at coolestmeditationever.com, and my Ocean Nation is ocean-nation.org. So both of those places will take you to our projects that are around shifting the earth through the water, through the oceans.
And dear Miracle Makers, thank you. That is my older brother, Ken Sheets, and his dear, dear beloved soulmate, Elizabeth England. This has been a project that we've been very, very close to our heart. Earth Shift Conference is happening this weekend. You guys, we are just so grateful that you're here, and we've got just a couple more minutes to wrap up, and baby, I'd
Sure.
love to
Say
wrap
something
up.
about Celeste real quick too.
Sure,
Before we
sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to say that I really love Celeste and Nazim, and they're very dear friends. And I'm a big supporter of anything they're doing. And I'm super happy to be seeing them again here at the Earthshift conference. But I want to encourage everyone to support Celeste and what she's offering right now with her fundraiser, the GoFundMe campaign. Go to her website, come and see her at Earthshift, meet her, hear her, and so on and so forth. But she's the only person in the world that's allowed to call herself my mom. Okay, and she's not my biological mother, but she's better than that. And she calls herself my star mom and her star son. And I'm very good friends with her husband Nazim and her. And so I just want to once again encourage people to support them in any way that they can.
I'm so grateful that you connected us. She is absolutely delightful. And thank you guys for being with us. It reminds me that there's millions. Her campaign, this new science of healing cancer, reminds me that millions of cells in our body are dying and new ones are being created each moment.
Yeah.
And that bit of so is within, so is without, so is above, so is below. Dear Miracle Makers, we've had this infinite wisdom shared. This is a show that you're going to want to listen to again and again. Please subscribe to us on Miracle Makers podcast. And baby, I'd love for you to just wrap this up for us.
Love.
And love as deeply as you can. Love as deeply as you can. That the soul center that you hold is a love frequency.
Yes.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Julian, for being such love on the show. We will see you at Earthshift Conference.
Love you, Sarah.
Love you, love
Greg.
you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
The past is history, the future mystery. This moment